Timing is one of the most effective yet often overlooked tools in nutrition and fitness because it directly interacts with your body's internal biological rhythms. Your brain and body operate on circadian cycles that regulate energy levels, hormone release, alertness, and recovery. When you align your eating and training patterns with these natural rhythms, you create conditions where performance, metabolism, and adaptation are significantly enhanced without requiring more effort. Throughout the day, your body moves through predictable shifts in alertness and physical readiness. For most people, there are windows where focus, coordination, and strength are naturally higher. Training during these periods allows you to generate better output, which leads to a stronger stimulus for adaptation. In contrast, trying to train when your body is in a low-energy state often results in reduced performance and less effective workouts. This doesn't mean you can only train at one perfect time, but being aware of when your body feels most capable can help you get more out of each session. Nutrition timing also plays a key role in regulating energy and supporting performance. When you eat, your blood glucose levels rise, providing fuel for both the brain and muscles. If meals are spaced in a way that leads to large fluctuations, long periods without food followed by large, heavy meals, you may experience energy crashes, reduced focus, and decreased motivation to train. On the other hand, more balanced and well-timed meals help maintain steady energy levels, making it easier to stay active and consistent. There is also an interaction between timing and hormone regulation. Hormones like cortisol, insulin, and growth hormone follow daily rhythms and are influenced by when you eat and train. For example, training earlier in the day can align well with natural increases in cortisol and alertness, supporting performance and wakefulness. Eating later at night, especially large or highly processed meals, can interfere with sleep quality and recovery by disrupting these hormonal patterns. When sleep is affected, it creates a cascade of negative effects on both nutrition and fitness, including impaired recovery and increased hunger signals. Another important aspect of timing is how it affects recovery. After training, the body is in a state where it is more receptive to nutrients that support repair and adaptation. Consuming a balanced meal after exercise helps replenish energy stores and provides the building blocks needed for muscle recovery. Delaying this process for too long can slow recovery and reduce the overall benefit of the workout. Consistency and timing also helps train your body to expect certain inputs at certain times. When meals and workouts occur at relatively regular intervals, the body becomes more efficient at digesting food, utilizing nutrients, and preparing for physical activity. This creates a smoother and more predictable system, reducing stress on both the metabolic and nervous systems. Timing is not about rigid schedules or perfection, but about creating alignment between your behaviors and your biology. When you begin to pay attention to when you eat and when you train, and how those choices affect your energy, performance, and recovery, you gain a powerful tool for improving both nutrition and fitness in a way that feels more natural and sustainable. Protein intake is one of the most effective tools for improving both nutrition and fitness because it directly supports muscle function, recovery, and overall metabolic health. Every time you train, especially with resistance or high effort, you create small amounts of stress and damage in muscle tissue. This is not harmful. It's actually the signal that tells the body to adapt. Protein provides the amino acids that are required to repair and rebuild that tissue, making it stronger and more resilient over time. Without sufficient protein, this repair process is limited and progress in strength or body composition becomes slower and less consistent. Beyond muscle repair, protein plays a key role in maintaining lean body mass. When people try to lose fat, they often reduce overall calorie intake. But if protein intake is too low, the body may break down muscle along with fat. Maintaining adequate protein helps preserve muscle while allowing fat loss to occur more effectively. This is important not just for appearance or strength, but for long-term metabolic health, since muscle tissue is more metabolically active and supports better energy regulation. Another important aspect of protein is its effect on appetite and satiety. Compared to carbohydrates and fats, protein tends to be more filling, which can help regulate how much you eat throughout the day. When meals contain enough protein, they slow digestion and provide a more sustained release of energy, reducing the likelihood of sudden hunger spikes or cravings. This makes it easier to maintain consistent eating patterns without relying on willpower alone. Over time, this stability supports both nutrition goals and training performance. Protein intake also influences blood sugar regulation. When combined with carbohydrates, protein can help moderate the rate at which glucose enters the bloodstream, preventing sharp spikes and crashes. Stable blood sugar levels are closely linked to consistent energy, better focus, and improved workout performance. When energy levels are steady, it becomes easier to engage in regular training and maintain an active lifestyle. The distribution of protein throughout the day matters as well. Instead of consuming most of your protein in a single meal, spreading it across multiple meals allows the body to use it more efficiently for muscle repair and maintenance. Each time you consume protein, you stimulate processes related to muscle protein synthesis. By providing regular inputs, you create multiple opportunities for the body to repair and strengthen tissue, especially when combined with consistent training. There's also a connection between protein and recovery beyond just muscle. Protein supports the repair of other tissues, contributes to immune function, and plays a role in the production of enzymes and hormones that regulate various bodily processes. This makes it a foundational component not only for physical performance but for overall health. Importantly, protein intake needs to be consistent rather than occasional. A single high-protein meal cannot compensate for long periods of inadequate intake. The body relies on a steady supply of amino acids to maintain and repair tissues, particularly when you are training regularly. By ensuring that protein is a regular part of your daily nutrition, you create the conditions for continuous adaptation and improvement in both fitness and overall well-being. Resistance training and regular movement act as direct signals that tell your body how to adapt, making them one of the most powerful tools for improving both fitness and overall health. The body is constantly responding to the demands placed on it. When those demands include lifting weight, producing force, or sustaining movement, the brain and muscles work together to create changes that make those tasks easier over time. Without these signals, the body tends to conserve energy and gradually reduce strength, endurance, and metabolic efficiency. Resistance training, in particular, provides a very specific type of stimulus. When you lift weights or perform bodyweight exercises, you create tension in the muscles that activates both muscular and neural systems. This tension signals the body to increase muscle fiber strength and coordination. Over time, this leads to greater force production, improved joint stability, and better control of movement. These changes are not just about appearance. They directly improve how efficiently you perform everyday tasks and reduce the risk of injury. There is also a strong connection between resistance training and metabolic health. Muscle tissue plays a key role in how the body handles glucose, which is a primary source of energy. When you engage in regular strength training, your muscles become more sensitive to insulin, meaning they can take in and use glucose more effectively. This helps stabilize blood sugar levels and reduces the likelihood of energy crashes. It also supports long-term health by lowering the risk of metabolic disorders. Beyond structured workouts, general movement throughout the day is equally important. The body is designed for regular, low-level activity, such as walking, standing, and light movement. These activities support circulation, help maintain joint mobility, and keep energy systems active. When movement is limited to a single workout while the rest of the day is sedentary, many of these benefits are reduced. Consistent daily movement ensures that the body remains engaged and functional beyond just training sessions. Movement also has a direct impact on the brain. Physical activity increases blood flow, delivering oxygen and nutrients that support cognitive function. It also promotes the release of neurochemicals that improve mood, motivation, and focus. This creates a feedback loop where movement not only improves physical health but also makes it easier to stay consistent with both training and nutrition. Another important factor is adaptability. When you challenge your body with different types of movement, varying intensity, load, and patterns, you encourage broader development. This helps build resilience, making it easier to handle physical stress and recover from it. It also prevents stagnation, where the body becomes too efficient at a single type of activity and stops improving. Recovery is built into this process as well. Each time you train or move, you create a stimulus, and the body responds by adapting during rest. The key is to provide enough challenge to trigger adaptation while allowing sufficient recovery to occur. This balance leads to steady improvement rather than fatigue or burnout. By consistently engaging in resistance training and maintaining regular movement throughout the day, you send clear and repeated signals to your body to become stronger, more efficient, and more resilient, supporting both physical performance and long-term health. Hydration is one of the most fundamental yet underestimated tools for improving both nutrition and fitness because it directly affects nearly every system in the body. Water is involved in processes ranging from nutrient transport and temperature regulation to joint lubrication and cellular function. Even small changes in hydration status can influence how you feel, how you perform, and how effectively your body recovers from training. At the cellular level, water helps maintain the structure and function of cells. Muscles, in particular, rely on proper hydration to contract efficiently and generate force. When you are even mildly dehydrated, muscle performance can decline, leading to reduced strength, endurance, and coordination. This means that the quality of your workouts is directly tied to how well hydrated you are before and during exercise. Over time, consistently training in a dehydrated state can limit progress because the stimulus you provide to the body is weaker. Hydration also plays a critical role in regulating body temperature. During exercise, especially in warmer environments or during intense effort, the body generates heat. Sweating is the primary mechanism for dissipating that heat, and it depends on having enough fluid available. If hydration is insufficient, the body struggles to cool itself effectively, which can lead to early fatigue, reduced performance, and increased strain on the cardiovascular system. Maintaining proper hydration allows you to sustain effort for longer periods and recover more efficiently between bouts of activity. There is also a strong connection between hydration and cognitive function. The brain is highly sensitive to changes in fluid balance, and even mild dehydration can affect focus, reaction time, and decision-making. This becomes especially relevant during training, where coordination and mental clarity are important for both performance and safety. Outside of exercise, proper hydration supports consistent energy levels and reduces the likelihood of fatigue that can interfere with maintaining healthy nutrition and fitness habits. Hydration influences appetite regulation as well. The brain sometimes interprets signals of dehydration as hunger, which can lead to unnecessary eating. When you are properly hydrated, it becomes easier to distinguish between true hunger and the need for fluids. This can help stabilize eating patterns and prevent excess calorie intake that is not driven by actual nutritional needs. Another important aspect is the role of hydration in digestion and nutrient absorption. Water is necessary for breaking down food and transporting nutrients throughout the body. When hydration levels are adequate, digestion tends to be more efficient, supporting better use of the nutrients you consume. This enhances the overall effectiveness of your diet, ensuring that the body receives what it needs to support training and recovery. Electrolyte balance is also part of the hydration equation. When you sweat, you lose not only water, but also minerals like sodium and potassium that are essential for muscle function and nerve signaling. Replacing fluids without considering electrolytes, especially during prolonged or intense exercise, can lead to imbalances that affect performance and recovery. Maintaining this balance helps ensure that muscles contract properly and that the nervous system functions efficiently. By consistently maintaining proper hydration, you support the body's ability to perform, recover, and regulate itself, making it a foundational element that enhances the effectiveness of both nutrient recovery. Is the phase where all the benefits of nutrition and fitness are actually realized, yet it is often overlooked in favor of more training or stricter dieting. When you exercise, you are not immediately becoming stronger or fitter. You are creating a controlled form of stress that disrupts the current state of your muscles, nervous system, and energy stores. The body then responds to that stress during recovery by repairing, rebuilding, and adapting in a way that improves performance for future demands. Without adequate recovery, this adaptive process is incomplete, and progress becomes limited or even reversed. Sleep is the most powerful component of recovery because it directly regulates many of the systems involved in repair and adaptation. During deep sleep, the body releases growth hormone, which supports muscle repair, tissue regeneration, and overall recovery. At the same time, the brain consolidates motor patterns and learning from training, making movements more efficient and coordinated. This means that sleep is not just about rest. It is an active process that enhances both physical and neurological aspects of fitness. Hormonal balance is also heavily influenced by sleep and recovery. When sleep is insufficient or poor in quality, hormones that regulate hunger, such as ghrelin and leptin, become disrupted. This can lead to increased appetite and cravings, particularly for high-calorie foods, making it harder to maintain consistent nutrition habits. In addition, elevated stress hormones like cortisol can impair recovery, reduce muscle growth, and negatively affect mood and motivation. Proper recovery helps keep these systems balanced, supporting both physical performance and dietary control. Muscle repair depends on both rest and proper nutrition. After training, the body requires amino acids from protein and energy from carbohydrates to rebuild damaged tissue and replenish energy stores. If recovery nutrition is inadequate, the repair process is slowed, and the body may not fully adapt to the training stimulus. Over time, this can lead to fatigue, decreased performance, and a higher risk of injury. Providing the body with the right nutrients at the right time supports a more complete and efficient recovery process. The nervous system also requires recovery. Intense training, especially resistance or high-intensity workouts, places significant demand on the central nervous system. This can affect coordination, reaction time, and overall energy levels. Without sufficient rest, the nervous system remains in a fatigued state, making it harder to perform at a high level and increasing the likelihood of errors or injuries. Recovery allows the nervous system to reset, restoring the ability to generate force and maintain focus. Active recovery can also play a role. Light movement, such as walking or gentle stretching, helps promote blood flow, which aids in delivering nutrients to tissues and removing metabolic byproducts. This can reduce stiffness and improve overall readiness for the next training session. It also maintains a level of activity without adding excessive stress, supporting both physical and mental well-being. Consistency in recovery practices is just as important as consistency in training. One good night of sleep or one well-balanced meal cannot compensate for ongoing neglect of recovery. The body needs regular, repeated periods of rest and nourishment to adapt effectively. By prioritizing recovery through sleep, nutrition, and appropriate rest, you create the conditions that allow all your efforts in training and diet to translate into real, measurable improvements. Consistency is the factor that ultimately determines whether any nutrition or fitness strategy produces real, lasting results. The body does not respond to isolated efforts or short bursts of motivation. It adapts to repeated signals over time. Every workout, every meal, every night of sleep sends a message to your biology about what is required. When those signals are consistent, the body begins to adjust in a stable and predictable way, reinforcing the changes you are trying to create. At the physiological level, consistency allows neural and muscular systems to strengthen together. Each time you train, you activate specific motor patterns and muscle fibers. When this happens regularly, those pathways become more efficient, meaning movements feel smoother and require less effort. In contrast, when training is irregular, the body does not receive enough repetition to solidify those patterns, and progress tends to stall or regress. The same principle applies to nutrition, where consistent eating patterns help regulate metabolism, energy levels, and hunger signals. Consistency also stabilizes energy and performance. When you eat balanced meals at relatively regular intervals, stay hydrated, and maintain a steady training schedule, your body develops a rhythm. This rhythm supports predictable energy levels, making it easier to perform well during workouts and stay active throughout the day. Irregular habits, on the other hand, can lead to fluctuations in blood sugar, fatigue, and inconsistent performance, which often reduce motivation and make it harder to maintain progress. Another important aspect is the compounding effect of small actions. Individual workouts or meals may not seem significant on their own, but when repeated over days and weeks, they build on each other. Each session contributes to gradual improvements in strength, endurance, and metabolic health. Each balanced meal supports recovery and energy for the next activity. Over time, these small inputs accumulate into noticeable changes both physically and mentally. Consistency also reduces reliance on motivation. Motivation tends to fluctuate based on mood, stress, and external factors, making it an unreliable driver of behavior. When habits become consistent, they require less conscious effort and decision-making. This is because the brain begins to automate repeated behaviors, making them part of a routine rather than a choice that has to be actively made each time. This shift is critical for long-term success because it allows you to maintain progress even when motivation is low. There is also a psychological benefit to consistency. Regular engagement in nutrition and fitness practices creates a sense of structure and control. This can improve confidence and reinforce a positive feedback loop where progress leads to more engagement, and more engagement leads to further progress. Inconsistent habits, in contrast, often lead to frustration and a perception that efforts are not working, even if the underlying strategy is sound. Importantly, consistency does not mean perfection. Missing a workout or having an unplanned meal does not disrupt progress as long as the overall pattern remains stable. The body responds to trends, not isolated events. What matters is returning to the routine and continuing to provide the signals that support adaptation. By maintaining consistent patterns in training, nutrition, hydration, and recovery, you create a stable environment where the body can continuously adapt and improve, leading to success. When you bring all of these tools together: timing, protein intake, effective training, proper hydration, quality recovery, and consistency, you create a system that works with your biology rather than against it. Nutrition and fitness stop being isolated efforts and become coordinated signals that guide your body toward better performance, higher energy, and long-term health. Over time, this integrated approach allows progress to compound in a steady and sustainable way, making improvements not only more effective but also easier to maintain.